So with the Giants loss, Michael, we now have 2 remaining undefeated teams in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Miami Dolphins. Let's start on South Beach, where this game Sunday afternoon was absolutely insane. It was dramatic. It was fun to watch this as a neutral observer. I know our producer, Stephen Bond, he might have felt like he was in the sauna as well with Bills Mafia down there on South Beach with how hot that weather was. But the Dolphins beat the Bills 21-19. We can go in a number of directions with this game here, but let's start off with Miami and this start to their season, 3-0. A lot of folks probably thought that 0-3 was more likely given how the schedule broke for them, but another impressive game for the Dolphins. I thought their defense, once again, like it did in week 1, was really the story.
Well, I mean, they played a doubleheader on defense. I mean, they played 90 plays on defense. Femi, I've been in the league close to 40 years. I've never seen a game book like this. You know, after every single game, I go through the game books and I look at, you know, I go through the, I break down the game like I did when I was in the National Football League, right? So, you know, I put the game in certain categories, you know, where I recap the game, I go over the drive chart, I go through the fourth quarter, I look at third downs, I look at fourth downs, I look at the red zone production. I basically try to grade after I watch the tape the real quarterbacks. I could give a shit about QBR or any of that other crap. You know, and then, you know, what's the score at halftime? How many explosive plays do they make? Yards per play, missed field goals, turnovers, all those kind of things, right? Penalties in the kicking game. Like this has been one of the most amazing game books you'll ever see. 39 plays for Miami, right? 39 plays for Miami. They're basically, they're 2 for not, they're 6 for, what were they? They were 3 for 8 on third down.
Yep.
Right? I mean, they convert a 3rd and 22. Great throw by Tua. Great throw by Tua into a cover 2 shell. Throws it down to the middle read. Ball hangs. They make the 2 safeties with Buffalo not being out. But this game was lost by Buffalo. It wasn't won. The last 2 games, the opponent has lost the game to Miami. Now, does that make Miami a weaker team? No. It's just concerning when you are in the league. Even though you're 3-0, you could easily be 1-2. You could easily be 1-2. And don't fool yourself by these wins is all I'm saying. I mean, Buffalo dominated the game. I don't know what Josh Allen was thinking at the end of the first half when he went to spike it and he bobbled it, and then all of a sudden they lose 3 points there. They miss a field goal, they lose points there. You know, and so when they go through it, they have they in the fourth quarter they get 7 first downs, they miss a field goal, they convert 4 of 6 on third down in the fourth, and they lose the game. Remarkable.
It really is remarkable when you look at the box score. 497 total yards for the Bills, 212 for the Dolphins. Like you said, if somebody showed you this box score beforehand, because usually when you see a disparity like that, it's like, okay, the Dolphins must have forced 4 turnovers or 5 turnovers like how Pittsburgh did with Cincinnati in week 1. But it was none of that. The Bills had 1 turnover, and they out-yarded them by more than double and then still lost this game. I said kudos to the Dolphins defense, maybe kudos to the Heat down there on South Beach, because the Bills had a number of guys who were leaving the game due to heat illnesses and stuff, and it just, the humidity, you could tell, 100 degrees, probably 120% humidity, that played a factor, especially there in that second half where the Bills' offensive line, in addition to their secondary being banged up, but their offensive line, they were losing guys, it felt like every drive due to the conditions.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard to play down there. It's a distinct advantage for Miami, just like Miami's going to have a hard time playing when the weather gets bad, because I'm convinced Tua's not going to play well when the weather gets bad, because I saw it last year against Tennessee. But look, credit Miami. I mean, how important is the red zone? You know, probably the difference of the game. They're 3 for 3 in the red zone when they get down there. They convert. Buffalo turns the ball over on the 6-yard line. Miami converts it to a touchdown, doesn't hold them to a field goal. So, you know, Miami has been very opportunistic. I thought Miami screwed the game up at the end of the game. Like, I mean, why they threw it on that third down, I have no idea. They get the safety, which then puts Buffalo right back in the game. Mm-hmm. And even though Buffalo didn't have any timeouts, I fully expected them to be able to get a field goal off in that game. And Miami's defense rose to the challenge. So, look, I mean, Buffalo's got 65 rushes and completions. Miami's got 30, and they win the game. Credit Miami. Credit them. I mean, they hold Tyreek Hill basically to no plays, and yet they're still able to win. I mean, I think, to me, it's one of those where, okay, play that game 10 times, Buffalo's winning 9.
Yeah, if the Bills banged up in the secondary. We know that Jordan Poyer was banged up. Micah Hyde is out for the rest of the season with a neck injury. They're already down Tre'Davious White at cornerback. I believe the rookie Christian Benford ended up having a broken hand, so he's going to be out for some time. So the Buffalo Bills are actually hosting Xavier Rhodes this week to see if maybe they can kick the tires on that. Xavier Rhodes being an older corner, he's not the guy he was about 5-6 years ago, but at this point, Buffalo just needs bodies. I mean, I think Steven might be the one that's in the slot this upcoming week against the Baltimore Ravens. He says he's ready to cover guys because they're down a lot of bodies in that secondary.
Plus, they didn't have Phillips. They didn't have Oliver inside. Yep. They lost 2 defensive linemen. Look, the key to Buffalo, and this is the game. I don't know if you saw the play. Milano's got a pick 6 and he drops it. Mm-hmm. Like all this we talk about Buffalo's defense, to me, the guy who makes Buffalo's defense go is Milano. I mean, he's the key. When he's going and he's playing, which he plays well, he gets them going. He gets them lined up. Rhodes would be perfect for them because he can play press to off.
Can he still play
in that cover 7 scheme? I mean, look, all they're trying to do is get guys that can play within the scheme and understand where they fit on the route discipline. That's really what they're trying to do. They never go and say, okay, you got him man-to-man, just take him everywhere across the field. They're a match zone, and they do a great job of disguise. They need veteran guys back there to help disguise it, And so, look, I didn't walk away from that game. Buffalo's power rating for me going into the weekend was as high as it could be. I don't think it's going to disturb it at all. I mean, because they mentally lost the game. How about your boy Dorsey going berserk in the press box? Like, Jesus Christ, how about some composure? I mean, come on, man.
The way he explained it after the game.
My grandchildren don't have that temper tantrum like that.
He was fired up, man. He was fired up. And I don't know if it was the residual effect.
I would say this. If you want to be a head coach and I'm a general manager watching that, I'm like, Ken, no, I can't have you that emotional. Like, you can't think that way. Like, don't. I mean, people are on you. Like, you got these iPhones everywhere. People are going to catch you doing anything. Yeah. I don't know. To me, that was embarrassing.
In Dorsey's defense, though, because it was a little embarrassing. I found it funny just as a viewer. But in his defense, the box score being what it was, he probably felt like how we felt here today, that the Buffalo Bills should have won that game. And who knows what happens when we get into December and January. It could be one game that differentiates a team from getting home field advantage. And we could look back at this game in week 3 saying, wow, if they had just taken care of business against Miami, they would have home field throughout the playoffs. Now they have to go to who knows where come January. So maybe I get why he got upset, but you got to be able to at least harness it a little bit there as a coach of the team there. Nothing to be upset about, Michael.
I mean, but here's what they did, though, Femi. Here's what they did. They played with he had no poise at the end of the game. And if you were to sum up that game, Buffalo's mistakes were attributed to not having enough poise, not getting the ball out of bounds at the end of the first half, making some mistakes, not allowing a 3rd and 22 you allow get converted. Come on.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. But like you mentioned, the Bills are still the best team in the NFL, despite what we saw last Sunday. And I mean, if you're going to be 3.5 point favorites on the road where they're projected right now at Baltimore, that just goes to show you how damn good this team is, and from a betting perspective, how they're perceived in the betting market, not alone just with what we see with our eyes as well, with Buffalo being the top team in the National Football League. Thanks for watching the GM Shuffle with Michael Lombardi, and for more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to VSiN Live and the GM Shuffle podcast with Michael Lombardi, presented by DraftKings and VSiN, wherever you get your podcasts.